Slurpy derp my G's. Well, today we're back with another tutorial, and this time it's a phase plant one. And I've gone to the liberty of creating a lead sound for phase plant today because I often make basses, you know. I thought, let's just switch it up a bit and try and make a different kind of sound today. So here's a little preview of the patch, and I'm going to play around a little bit with these curves here, and this is going to change the tonality a bit as well. Alright, so that is that's the burning bush. Burning bush? Burning bush. Yeah, I really like this lead. It's got a really nice character to it. And let's break down the sound design, because I employed a few techniques that I want to talk about and a few concepts. And the first concept was basically that I wanted to step away from sine waves for a moment and do something with saw waves and square waves. Okay? So we're starting off with a saw wave, right? And I've actually got a bandpass filter on it. So I've put a bandpass filter underneath, and I'm tracking this to an LFO down here. So 6/16, a ramp down, nice curve shape. Okay, on the cutoff. And I've also set the output to the sync mode as well, which gives a slightly different tone to the saw wave. Okay, so a bit of movement on those two. And just because I was messing around with the pitch as I was designing the patch, we ended up on -5 on this one and -17 down on this second one here, and slightly detuned. And this second one here is a square wave this time. Okay, and I've used the pulse width modulation quite a lot here, and I've put a bit of movement onto that. It changes the nature of the square wave, and the LFO is controlling that, but in a sort of opposite direction. And yeah, there's a slight bit of movement on the sync as well, but only a very small amount. But anyway, they sound great together like this for now, but we're going to do a lot to them to change them a lot. But before we change the tonality more, I wanted to put some more cool rhythm into the patch. So I've got another LFO down here, 3/16. And I'm using this mainly as a carrier to modulate the phase of the first LFO. Alright, so I call this the LFO sandwich, where you take one LFO, you take the output, you put it into the phase of the first one, and it will cause the first one to skip around quite randomly. And I've also actually used this secondary LFO though on a few other parameters as well. So it's not only acting as a carrier, it's also acting as another movement to this bandpass filter, and it's got another movement later on this other filter over here. But essentially, the point is the patch becomes very rhythmically complex, and that was very important to get the tonality that I wanted. So let's move over to the main parts of the sound now, which is really this filter table here. So I've really enjoyed using the filter table to change the tonality of sounds, and you can actually, you know, skip between the different harmonics within each filter table. So I'm modulating up here. So I've set my main LFO to modulate the actual table, and I've got another LFO is also modulating the cutoff of the filter as well. So the filter cutoff changes, as does the actual shape of the filter. So again, lots of movements. But that really, yeah, completely changes the sound and gives me that almost growly, humanoid kind of vocoded sound effect in a sense, you know? So next, we're just going to keep enhancing it, right? Shaper table comes in next. Driven up quite high, and this saturates and distorts. And again, I've used the table, I've modulated the actual table itself here, just to give a bit of extra movement there. And, you know, if you modulate the balloon one a bit more as well, you can kind of get different tones doing that as well, which is fine. But I left it how it is in that setting. I think that was my favourite sort of part of the table. But yeah, filter table first, change the tone, and the shaper table to then start bringing in some volume, especially, and a bit more grit. So the next thing I did was to start adding in some stereo. And here the comb filter again is my favourite way. Sounds much more powerful than using the unison. And so I just turn on the comb filter, hit the stereo button, and then choose between plus and minus. I feel like it's a bit more coherent right down with the plus polarity. And I've got a bit of movement to the actual frequency of the comb filter, so you get this like stereo movement within it as well. And the mix is about 44% here. So a nice balance between stereo and the mono signal, but it's very nice and powerful. I like the comb filter very much. Then I've done a bit of the convolver, and this is basically, yeah, just adding on a slight little room sound. Only about 11%. Toyed with the feedback and tonality slightly, made it a little bit longer and a bit brighter. The dual delay, I always play with the milliseconds here till I find a good vibe for how kind of fast I want the delay to sound. You can leave it up first to hear what you're doing. Okay, but then once I find a nice position, I bring the mix down, and it's just a little tail for when the sound ends, so it ends quite nice and smoothly and naturally. Again, toying with the feedback for the length of the delay, the tone for the brightness of it, and the duck for the bit less volume when the sound is actually playing. And so the delay springs up at the end a bit nicer. A bit of distortion overdrive. I love this one. As a clean saturation, powerful in the low end as well, and just brings everything up together nicely. Next, a bit of a white noise injection. Using the ring mod, as I often have for many years, the bandpass noise, frequency, bias, rectify, spread all the way up, and then just mixing the amount of white noise. Actually on my LFO, so I'm doing an injected noise hits that are in line with the movement. You know? Just doing enough so that there's a bit of salt and pepper on top of noise, which is wonderful. A bit of a high shelf boost at the end. And that is the end already of the Burning Bush patch, which I really, really enjoy. And yeah, just some cool movements you can do when you move these around. I would love to see a way that you could modulate the curve shapes, as you can do kind of in Serum, you know. But that I don't think that feature is quite available in Faceplant, but maybe in the future. Either way, I mean, there's so many other modulations available in Faceplant. I'm much better with this than I am with Serum, so that's just my workflow though, you know. But yeah, that's the end of today's tutorial. I hope you enjoyed the Burning Bush sound. May I remind you before I go as well, if you ever want to learn about synthesis, we can do lessons together on Faceplant, on Vital or Current. Those are the 3 synths that I work in. You can book lessons down below, and also you can book production sessions with me, not only to learn about synthesis, but to improve your mix downs, to get feedback on your tracks. If you just want to talk about, like, make a sort of a mindset plan for your production journey as well, and your releases, that kind of thing. I tackle also the marketing side and the whole the motivation side of making music as well. So it's not doesn't only have to be you know, production theory and that kind of stuff in my lessons. You can really tell me what it is that will help you the most, and we can make a plan together so that you can achieve the most out of your sessions. But the links for that are all down below. Secondly, come along and join me on Discord. If you join my Patreon on the Fire Team Discord tier or higher, but that's the one that gets you in the Discord, and that is really where all the action is in my Patreon, because that's where we have the amazing community of members who are just really, really kind people there to give you feedback on your tracks, and it's a great vibe and a lovely little family, and we hope that you join us as well. Thirdly, Current, Vital and Faceplant presets are all available on my website. If you're new and you want to test out my free ones, there's some free ones on there, but I will give you a disclaimer. They are pretty much the first sounds I ever made when I downloaded the synths, so they're not really representative of the quality of the sounds in the premium packs. There's demos for all the premium packs on YouTube, But if you're very new and you just want to get all of them, there are bundles available. With Vital, you save about 60 euros, I think, if you buy the whole Vital bundle in one go. And with Phase Plant, you can get all of the Phase Plant presets in one bundle as well, and you save about 30 euros. Or if you just want to grab one or two individual packs, you're more than welcome to do that, whatever suits you. Finally, yeah, if you guys ever want mixing and mastering done, you're free to hit me up for that. What I will say from my experience is it's very important to have a great mastering engineer that you trust, and it doesn't have to be me, but if it wasn't me, I could also recommend some other mastering engineers within the drum and bass genre specifically, who I know who are great. But you will always get a better result with mastering engineer than you will with an AI tool, because the AI is not really that nuanced yet to really give you that polished, like, really professional, loud, clear and dynamic drum and bass sound that we all strive for. So if you do want to take your music seriously and you want that finished edge on your sound and you're not quite there with doing the mastering yourself yet, just send me an email to do it, or yeah, try to use a human one if you can. Don't fall for the trap of the AI enhancement tools, because they're really, really crap. All right. Yeah, that's enough from me today. More from me very soon. If you're new on the channel as well, I appreciate a subscribe, and everyone else, I appreciate a like on the video, and thank you for all of your amazing comments as well. It really yeah, it's really, really great to see that you guys are enjoying the content. So until next time, my friends, more from me then. Much love.